My name is Jason Vanderlaan. I went here last year, and now I'm at Big Rapids, Michigan, going to Fair State University, which is about 3 hours north of here.
My name's Adam Lindemulder. I also graduated from here last year, and now I'm at the University of Chicago, which is on the south side of Chicago in the Hyde Park neighborhood, only about 45 minutes away.
I'm Joe Glotz. I also graduated from here last year. I go to Laterno University in Longview, Texas, which is about 2 hours east of Dallas.
Can you tell me a little bit about college life and how it has changed from high school?
Yeah, well, the first thing is like the time frame of college. You only go to class about 2 or 3 hours a day, which is a lot different than high school, and you're also a lot more independent. With classes, you have to read a lot more, so a lot more of the pressure is put on you, but then also you get a lot more free time to do your work. So if you have 3 hours of homework a day, you're allowed to do it, and then you also have more free time. So you just got to figure out what you want to do with your life. If you want to join like an RSO, which is like a registered student organization, and those help you with community service or helping the school or cleaning up stuff. And then that way you don't have so much empty time on your hand where you're just sitting in your dorm by yourself.
I think the biggest change for me was the amount of independence. If you're living in the dorms, you're obviously away from your parents, and you're independent, going to class, getting up on time, going to bed on time, and doing all those things. So at first it could be a little overwhelming, but for me it was an easy transition.
For me, the difference has been the distance from my home. On the weekends, I'm stuck at my college. Sometimes not much to do. Far from family, friends. My girlfriend Kelsey, who goes here. So that's been the biggest difference for me.
How have you been challenged with academics or socially or faithfully?
Well, I'll touch on my faith and how I've been challenged with that. It's a little different for me going to a small private Christian school and now going to a big university where it's public and Christianity is never really touched on in classes. You don't pray before, you don't read the Bible, you don't ever touch on the subject. A lot of times you'll talk about evolution and the different world theories, but for me it was a little harder because I didn't have a car there. So I didn't go to church for about the first month because I didn't really have a ride, and I was just kind of being lazy, I guess. But then luckily I've made some friends that go to church, and I can get a ride there. So it's a lot more put on yourself as in high school, like it was your parents doing it for you.
Let's see, academically, I've always considered myself a big nerd, and I've loved school and learning and all that stuff. And so in high school, I challenged myself and did my best to get into a good university. And at University of Chicago, I definitely fit in with the whole nerd aspect. But it's also really intimidating because there are so many people who are just absolutely brilliant and really smart. And so academically, like I was saying before, you're on your own. So it's up to you. It's up to you to do your homework and do all the reading. But it's also like a completely different format. Here there's a lot more lecturing and taking notes and those kinds of things when, in college, some of my classes are those lecture style, but then it's also discussion based, whereas you read the reading, which could be extremely lengthy and extremely dense and difficult to read, but then you go to class and you're expected to know the reading inside and out and be able to discuss it. And so that was a big change and a challenge. But you get used to it quickly, especially when you're surrounded by really smart people who know what they're doing. You kind of just mimic them and act like you know what you're doing. But as long as you work hard and get those things done, it's could be an easy transition. And then let's see, spiritually, at my school it's very diverse, and that's what I have enjoyed the most. I have a lot of friends who are Indian or Jewish or different ethnicities, but also different religions, and I've really taken advantage of that and made friends with different backgrounds. And I'm not necessarily out there to convert them, but I feel like the relationships that I'm building with them, maybe I could be in that place someday, but I feel like I'm growing from those relationships just by being their friend and learning more about them and learning more about the world and those kinds of things. So that's spiritually and faithfully, that's what I've enjoyed the most going to college. I loved it here at Chicago Christian, but it wasn't as diverse as what I'm experiencing now, and that something that I've really loved.
I'm going to talk about the social aspect. At my school, a lot of kids were homeschooled, so a lot of kids are socially challenged, I'd say. So it was tough trying to find a group of friends where I could always be with. But just getting yourself out there and meeting new people is a good thing to do. For me, spiritually, I go to a Christian university, so I'm still required to go to chapels, which has been good for me. It's been keeping me in the straight path.
What do you remember about CCHS, and what are you most thankful for?
Well, one of the best parts about Christian High that we all know is Spirit Week. In college, we had a Spirit Week, per se, but nobody really dressed up because you all have classes at different times, and you're not all there together, and not everybody knows each other. So that's why the one greatest part, you might not like it, but everybody knows each other and everybody's involved at Christian High. When you guys all go to the basketball games or volleyball games, everybody participates together, and everybody just has a great time here. And that's one thing I miss, because once you go to a bigger university, you're going to see your friends at the cafeteria, but walking to class or going in your specific classes, you might not see everybody, and it's just a different environment being enclosed. But I kind of liked it in high school, even though some of you guys might not. It's really a nice thing.
Yeah, just to add on to what Jason had to say, I think what I like most about Chicago Christian is how small it is, and everyone knows everybody. And with my experience, I went to the Tinley campus in kindergarten, and I stayed here, through my senior year. So that's 12, 13 years of schooling, and it's inevitable to develop relationships over that long of a time that are going to last. And even when new people come to the school, like especially your freshman year when it's all these different schools and people are coming together, I like how the school provides opportunities to come closer together, freshman lock-in, and then like Jason was saying, the football games, the basketball games. A lot of what the high school does is you're building relationships with your classmates, but also with the teachers and the administration, and everyone knows everybody, and that's definitely what I like the most. It's a lot different on a college campus where you could have 5,000, 6,000, even more than that, and you'll see some familiar faces throughout the day, but not people that you actually know or would be able to say hello to. And so I think that's what I miss about Chicago Christian the most.
My fondest memory here at Chicago Christian is definitely my friends. These friends here, love you, care about you, and these are friendships that are going to last a lifetime. Also, I love the learning atmosphere here at Chicago Christian. Every teacher knows you, they care about you. The classes are small, and it's great learning atmosphere.
Well, one of the first things is to the underclassmen, make the most of every opportunity, because high school goes really, really fast, regardless of if you think so or not. Try to get involved as a freshman. Don't slack off and just go with the flow because everybody else is. Try to go out there. Join different committees that we have in high school or whatever. And then another thing is start looking at colleges before you're a senior or a junior. It can get very stressful as a senior. I know that, and a lot of my friends went through that. But one of the things is just, trust in God. It is going to work out for you.
I guess the main thing that I could say, as cheesy as it is just to kind of find out who you are, and then just be comfortable with that, because especially when you're applying to college and doing the essays and things like that, that's what the colleges look for. But the other thing is, don't stress if you don't know yet, because I have a lot of friends who don't know what they want to do still, and they got into college but they don't know what they want to major in, or back last year, seniors who didn't know where they wanted to go to college even, they ended up somewhere, and from what I've heard from them, they're really happy with what God did with their lives and where they're heading now. And
my advice is to the seniors and juniors, involve God in college plans. I had my heart set on going to Purdue University, actually right when I was graduating last year, and God put a big spin on that. I found out financially I wouldn't be able to afford it, so I had to drop everything and start looking again last summer. And I actually ended up at this Christian university because the scholarship was the best, and I wasn't looking to go to a Christian school, but it happened that way, and it was probably the best decision I've made, so far. So it's just involve God in your plans.